Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Cultured Pearls of Wisdom show. My name is Sabrina Harris, and I am the visionary behind this amazing project, and it's an honor to be back before you in this capacity. I want to give a warm welcome to those who will be with us today, to include our lovely co-host, Coretta Talbert, our co-producer, Vel P. from Vel P Entertainment, Videography and Photography, and our interviewee for the second time around, Deborah Powell Skinner. I've come to call these moments introductory as pearl drips. Drips of wisdom that we want to saturate within the community and leave with you. And today I want to talk about positive psychology as a concept to add to your toolbox, in addition to domestic violence and abuse considerations inside of COVID-19, or some may consider it as intimate partner violence. But let's get to the concept of positive psychology, because it's an emphasis on retraining your mindset. But it is all about really what makes life worth living, what's most important, and how do we engage and handle life in a way that leaves us in control, whole, complete, healthy, sustained, and not crumbling every time a wave of conflict or adversity or challenge comes our way. Because let's be honest, life is not going to cease. The problems and challenges and situations of life are going to be consistent. Every day we wake up and we really don't know what we're going to face, but to be honest, we know we're going to face something. So it's about steadying ourselves and preparing ourselves that whatever may come our way, we will not fold, but we will stand. Acceptance is critical. And let's be honest, there's no way to deny novel COVID-19 coronavirus. This pandemic, global, worldwide, deaths are still mounting, illness is still happening, contractions are still a reality. It is something that we have to accept. And for those who have refused, I've seen article after article and video presentation after video presentation for people who did not take it seriously. It was a conspiracy, it's a governmental sham, all of these different things, only for these individuals, many of them, to come back full circle and have contracted this virus. Many have succumbed to it. Most have succumbed in certain ways that were questionable through no fault of their own, but it was people around them who facetiously and maliciously imposed their will. One woman was spat on. A bus driver was coughed on. There were different things that happened that people woke up that morning they were not expecting, but they became tremendously ill, and ultimately some of them perished because of this. So if there's nothing else, acceptance is critical. To say this pandemic, this virus, in addition to other things that are out there, Ebola, SARS, and all of the different things that we can contract, they don't go away. This is the reality. They subside, but they're always there. They're always ever present. Flu is something vaccinated even on an annual basis for many. After they receive the flu virus, they contract the flu. It's just the nature of how many of these things happen, but it's the reality that if something should happen in this way, we have to be prepared. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna survive? What am I going to implement within my life that is sustaining to me? And that's really an individual understanding the parameters of their life. I tell people now, survival is not a cookie cutter approach. One size does not fit all. Everything does not work for everybody. You gotta look at the parameters of your life, what you need, what your family requires, your living situation, your economic situation, your social situation, and you got to figure out not only how am I going to survive, but how am I going to protect the individuals who are constantly around me and face forward in my life. It also requires us to say, I'm going to release some ways of the old. I can't keep doing the same things that I was doing, especially when it's not productive. I'm going to have to figure out a better way to handle my situation. I'm going to be proactive versus reactive. I'm going to save for a rainy day now instead of living paycheck to paycheck. Or if I have a substantial amount of money that comes my way, I'm going to learn how to invest so my money makes money. We've got to break these cycles that existed long ago, and many of them contribute to COVID-19 being such a devastating reality on individuals, the economy, and everything else. We have to positively change our brains so that we positively change our lives. The old way of doing things, the old way of being, is no longer going to serve us well. This situation in particular that shut down the United States of America for weeks is indicative of saying positive change is inevitable, it's essential, it's necessary, and it's good for the environment and society as a whole. So let us understand today that we must begin to think more positively, act and react more positively, and we must command control of our lives in this situation and beyond. Thank you.
Hello everyone, how y'all doing out there? Listen, this is Coretta, the co-host of the Culltured Pearls of Wisdom show. I know we're in a very particular time right now as we're all excited and probably nervous, all the emotions going on inside of us when it comes to going back out into the real world. Yep, the real world. But not just the real world, let's talk about the new norm that has been tossed around in our communities, on the news, the radio, so on and so forth. And I just want to come with just a drop of inspiration to help you as you go back out into the real world in the new norm. The first thing I just want to highlight is we have to make sure that we're staying prayerful. Listen, I'm one of those people when it comes down to me being on the mountaintop. Yep, when the prayer has already been answered for something I've been praying and believing for, or when the sickness is gone away, or whatever breakthrough happens for me, I can sometimes get very comfortable and feel like, okay, God, you did that, so I can keep it moving, right? But God is saying, no, we have to stay positioned in prayer. So listen, just because all the regulations and restrictions are somewhat letting up, don't you let up on prayer. As you go back out into the world, as you go into your workplace, as you do whatever it would be and whatever it would look like in your new norm, make sure that you're staying prayerful. Like, this is for real, y'all. It's serious. The other thing I want to say, it's very simple. Let's stay positive. That's around the board. Let's stay positive. We have to continue to speak life. We have to continue to have a positive mindset and understand that God has given us the opportunity and the privilege to speak over our days, to speak life. So even when we hear things maybe getting worse, or, we may get some more bad news at our job based on some of the new restrictions, so on and so forth, we have to stay positive. That doesn't mean that we're not going through. That doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. That doesn't mean that we don't lack. However, it does mean that we can still stay positive. We have the power of positivity in our lives, and we have to activate it every day and tap into it and use it, just like a credit card or anything else. And the last thing I want to say is this. When it comes down to our new norm, and when it comes down to us going back out into the real world, we have to stay open-minded. We cannot get stuck on what was, because I'm going to be 100 with y'all. What was may not be the same. Even when it talks about going back into our churches, when it comes down to our kids going back to school, we have to stay so open-minded. But when we have prayer on the table, you guys, our prayer will lead us and guide us in wisdom. So we also need to be open-minded though. We can't be stubborn to think that, it's not the way it was, and trying to make that the goal. That can't be the goal. The goal has to be, you know what, Lord? I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know how this is going to look now, but I know if you're walking with me, Lord, I can be open because I know that you're guiding and that you're protecting me and my family. So don't be so stubborn and hold on to how things was, because it may never go back the same. Some things just won't. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Let's not set ourselves up for failure, but let's set ourselves up for success. And I strongly believe success starts in the mind. It starts there. It starts in the mind and the mindset. And that's what has to shift. We have to be prepared for the change that's coming, and we need to be positioned in the change that's already here. I'm going to say that again. We have to be prepared for the change that is coming, in the change that's already here. We're already in it. Some stuff you don't get to choose if you want to be in it. You're already in it. So listen, we have to make the best of what we're in and hopefully the best to what's to come. I love you all. Continue. Let's keep our mask on. Let's continue to do whatever it is that's going to keep us safe and use wisdom. I've been saying on the news, I'm sure you have too. A lot of people have been at the beaches, they've been at bars and so on and so forth. And hands down, do you, boo? But at the same time, listen, when you're out there and you're not using wisdom, you're impacting the world. You're not just impacting yourself. So don't be the person that's not taking this as serious as it really still is. As you relax and as you walk in faith, continue to protect yourself, protect your family. And while you're doing that, you're protecting this world. I love you all. Continue to be safe. God bless.
In everything that we do here at the Culltured Pearls of Wisdom show, we like to start everything off in prayer. So that everything that's said, everything that's stated is led by the right spirit, in truth, educated thoughts, and in the right spirit. So if you can bow your heads with me as we lead in prayer. Dear Father, we thank you for this time. We bless your name, Lord Father, for you are the true and living God. We thank you for your love, your kindness, and your blessings. We pray that everything that is stated here today glorifies you, speaks truth, and encourages someone. We pray that their hearts are filled and someone is enlightened, someone is built up, someone is educated, and someone is led in the right direction. Let our hearts and minds be right. Let our hearts and minds be filled with light and encouragement. And everything that we say and do here, we thank you for blessing us with this show. And we pray that you will continue, let the voices be heard, the right voices be spoken, and the right ears hear, and the hearts be touched. Have your way. We bless your name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And welcome back, ladies. Coretta and Deborah, welcome back to the table. We are honored to have you back and be able to follow up with you. I'm sure some things have transpired in these weeks since we were last together, and we're excited to catch up, per se, and keep moving forward. But if you could, just today, share with us how you're feeling, how things are going. Where are you, Queen? What's your mindset?
Good evening, everyone. Okay. I must tell you, fast forward, I'm back in the workplace. I'm working 2 days in the workplace, 3 days home.
Okay.
The challenge is leaving the home, period, to go to the workplace.
Absolutely.
As you see, I represent green today. I'm going to talk about my mental health.
Beautiful.
The mental health, it has been tremendously overloading. I've never had the issues, as I said before. I never dealt with anxiety or any of those things. And for some reason or another, I feel that I'm having different attacks in different ways that I don't understand. So as I told you, I was going to sign up and I'm going to speak with a licensed therapist.
Beautiful.
Someone that's I love both of you all, but I didn't want you to be so familiar with me. And I wanted to get a point, and I'm going to take notes, and I'm going to come back to the board with the both of you because I trust you.
I was going to say, ethically, we couldn't anyway.
Oh, you couldn't? Okay, see, I was
a full relationship.
Yes,
oh, well, I didn't even know that. I didn't read that on the story. But okay. But to fast forward, I don't know if anyone really understands the COVID-19. Of course, I've tested positive.
Yes.
I retested negative.
Yes.
Now I'm in the antibody process.
And I'm so excited to hear about that.
I don't know the fullness of that, but I was told it's probably good that I would test positive because my antibodies will probably protect me from recapturing COVID-19.
Wow.
As we all know, there are so many myths. There are so many untold stories. We don't know the truth of it.
It changes almost daily.
Yep.
So I'm excited about it, but the most excitement, I have to tell you ladies, if I am positive in my antibodies, that my blood, my plasma, could save another.
I've heard that.
And so if my blood can save someone else, I would donate it. I'm not going to be a study. I'm not going to be all of that, but I will give, if I just get a call. And recently, I did receive a call when I was in my quarantine because someone knew. And the guy passed away. I was crying because if I could, but I was not a quarantine. To save his life was like amazing. First of all, I thought about Jesus Christ and how he died for me.
Yes.
Now, what more can I do to give his glory?
Amen.
To allow someone else to live because my blood can assist them.
Wow.
So it's really a challenge, but as I said, the green is representing mental health. If you have issues that you really think you don't need, I'm speaking to the camera right now, you need to check it out. Because we love to say we have cray-cray in our family, bipolar in our family.
Come on.
But this is an issue that I've never dealt with, and I'm dealing with my mental health.
Amen.
Yes.
I see the different mood swings that I have with my family, my children. They tell me this. And so I want to speak to you all. Deal with it in a manner. Have a greater respect for people that deal with real mental health issues.
Absolutely.
It is not a place that you can think, oh, she's just crazy. No, it's deeper. It's much deeper. It's not about the small things that we think about women, as I always said, Sabrina.
Yes.
We just cannot do that. It's bigger than that. Yeah. The love that I have and the compassion I have so much greater for people that deal with mental health issues. Because I'm dealing with my mental for real, I'm not going to go overboard because I have faith and I believe. That is the only thing that's keeping me balanced because I can pick up the word. I can read. But these people that are in a dark place.
Exactly.
In a room with no one to talk to, with no one that they can trust, it's totally different.
And it is, I've said this all along, you have to consider those who don't have a personal relationship with God. Thank God that you do. But how we have hundreds of thousands of individuals who don't even believe in God. That does not make them unworthy of mental health intervention and to be stable and whole.
It doesn't. Because
if they are not, then now society is tasked with dealing with them. So do you see the secular pattern of this?
I see the full, it's a full circle now.
Yes, ma'am.
And I always question why, but why not me? I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing in the earth with this piece.
Clearly something.
Something. Clearly something. I literally picked up an article and I was reading, and there's someone in Michigan. I say it's the exact story. It's so amazing that this lady actually went through. The only thing, she was hospitalized and I wasn't. But she's going through and it's just amazing. Yeah. And then I'm up late. So I'm like, do I have insomnia now?
Yes.
I wake up the next day, I'm fine. All this energy that I have right now.
Yeah.
But
I'm tired, but I have this energy.
I want you to look at a video I posted on the Culltured Pearls of Wisdom community page by Dr. Daniel Amen. And he talks specifically about the brain. That's his go-to, that's his expertise. But he talks about how even lack of rest, it diminishes our capacity inside of our brain. So those who love to say, oh, I don't need but a couple of hours of sleep, or late night, early mornings, those buzz terms, to be honest with you, you're really diminishing, especially over a long period of time, your ability to even think and function in a healthy way.
That's good.
So it all ties together. And that's why I really started looking at the concept of the brain, because it starts and ends. If you think now, everything that you're saying really about surviving this has been decision making. It has been spirituality. It has been countering the negative thoughts and going to a place where I say, I can't let myself go here. But how do you do it? And that takes work.
Yes, it does. Yeah. I'm telling you, because I don't want supplement of medication to assist me with sleeping.
Yes.
And I've always been strong-willed about that. And so in this place, I can only tell you that there are fear factors that come to be in large crowds. I really don't want to do that anymore.
Absolutely.
I was invited to like family, and I'm like, okay, I have to go. I'm always with my mask, and nobody else have a mask. Like, then I feel uncomfortable. I kind of take it off, but I'm always guarded because every little thing, I'm like, there's a sign.
Yes.
See, COVID had a sign. There are symptoms to it. So mentally, I start thinking, okay, now look, I ain't had none of that going on.
Right.
I don't want none of that going on. So I deal with it totally different because I'm more protecting myself now.
Yeah.
I'm with my grandbaby, and I'm like, okay, we have to put on the mask whenever we go. So it's so much that it takes you to. If you want to just like you don't want to deal with it, you can be.
Yep.
But there's consequences that may come. So you have to keep an open mind everywhere.
Absolutely. And not only are there consequences for you, you have emphasized very well how your actions and reactions and things you do or do not do affect those around you. So I tell people, why throw caution to the wind? Why that I've tested negative now, I'm just going to go right back out here and ramp it up and do everything that I was doing before? And socially, okay, we like to socialize, but it's now the time. It's now the season. I trust that full season will come again where it's time for us to convene and be as one. But now is not that time.
No. I don't want it to catch anyone by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot, and I don't want to just say in our culture, but I believe if it don't hit home, a lot of us is not like taking it on a serious level. When it hits home or it hits someone close, you're kind of looking at it in a different level. Just respect it because of what it is, and no one knows a lot of answers. It's just a place just to reverence. It's just a place of reverence that, okay, I'm not looking at it because before, I'm telling you, at the mood swing, I'm getting angry. You all know I'm bubbly. I'm smiling, but I'm ready to fight in a hot minute.
Right.
And I'm like, where is this coming from? And my mood swing is the thing that I really like trying to suppress. It's like, really? Because a lot of things come back to the memories from the old. I'm like, where is this old Deborah coming up at?
Yes.
So now I'm not making an excuse because flesh got to be submitted.
Absolutely.
As we say, like we talked about that before, not daily, but every minute.
Yes.
Because the first thing, if I'm out of character, they're going to recognize, oh, isn't she the woman of God? I'm telling you, this is a real moment now.
It's a way to judge you and label you. But Coretta, what would you say, especially about respecting others inside of what you've gone through? Because I think it's critical right now for Deborah to say that she has tested, and thank God she's come full circle and she's now negative. But the reality of how she deals with other people, treat other people, and respect other people, what would you say about that?
I mean, honestly, I think when people, going back to the point that you said, unless it hit home for us, that's when it becomes a real thing to us. Other than that, we feel like outsiders. We may feel like, oh, that can't impact me, or that's them, that's not us. And I think that sometimes we're not sensitive, but we're not sensitive to other people's journeys, even if it doesn't look like ours.
Absolutely.
So I would definitely say, like, as a human race, as just being a human being, like we have to continue to respect whatever, like you said earlier, sis, that everybody's journey will look different.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think for us, when we don't understand it, we go quick to like criticize and judge and all of that. And it's like, oh, that's not me, that's her. And it's not time to do that. And even this morning I was reading in the word, like in Ephesians. I've been studying the book of Ephesians. And if I'm correct, it was a verse in there and it kind of set me back. I was like, okay, God. And basically it was saying that it's not even up to us to talk down on those who are not living the way God called them to live.
Amen.
Like, we shouldn't put our mouths on them in that way.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times when we don't know what to say, we need to say nothing, or if anything, we need to pray for that person.
Absolutely.
So I would just say, man, Queen, keep doing you, and don't even, I'm not going to say don't expect people to respect it. I don't want to say that, because we were also talking about expectations.
Yes.
However, at the end of the day, like, you keep doing you to protect you. If it's you wearing a mask and you look some kind of way in front of everybody else, or if you having a protective, wear, and so, like, do you. When I go to my family reunion, like, they're used to it now, I'm the only one that probably eats like I eat. But I don't care. I get in the kitchen with them and I bust it down with my type of food.
With your food.
And they're eating their food, and we all eat at the end of the day. But I'm not trying to step on their toes, and if they come for me, they could just come, because I'm going to be over here cooking, and I'm going to eventually eat it. I'll be good.
But your why?
Mm-hmm.
you now, it's a teachable moment if we allow it to be.
Of course.
Because if I'm eating different, preparing my food different,
That's
instead of you judging it,
I would be like,
I would be inquisitive as to
There you
why
go. What
you
you
eat like
doing?
that, or
There
how
you
does
go.
this
Me,
taste,
yeah.
or how does this look?
But the reality is, most people aren't like that. So it's like, how do we navigate around that? So it's just, for me, it's like, I wish more people were.
Yes.
But even dealing with COVID, even just somebody thinking, they may even judge, hey, y'all sitting at a table with her and she tested positive.
Exactly.
Even to that extreme, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And people just, some people, so we hope that more people will be open-minded and more curious instead of judgmental and negative. But I would say, man, at the end of the day, you keep walking in your journey.
Absolutely.
And people will join you, or people will continue to go the opposite way.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
I don't even think we're navigating around it. I think we're role modeling it.
True.
Because most
True.
people will stop it. Oh, she tested positive. No. Have you tested negative?
Exactly.
Have you retested?
Exactly.
Where are you? What is inside of your journey?
All that comes
You've
with
taught
that.
me so much about it from a curve of a personal perspective.
Mhm.
Because you get the generalities in mental health. We know the buzz terms and we know all of that. But to sit to someone who's actually gone through it, to understand your psyche, to understand your emotions and everything else. And I'm going to give you this caveat to remember. What you endure now, as far as your thought processes and everything else, you keeping yourself safe and comfortable is critical. Because I can open myself up to a group of family members and sitting here and I'm worried and scared and everything else. But when I leave you, now my anxiety is high. Now my depression is high. You've had a good time and you've gone on with your life. But because I sacrificed who I want to be or know I should be in this moment, now I don't feel right. Why am I going to do that to myself? So that's self-preservation first. What do you think about that?
I think that's good because as you were saying that, I had an experience. I stepped out to get gas because I'm limited in what I really do now.
Yeah.
And so I didn't put on the mask and I'm running to go pay for the gas. And there was this person just like bombarded me with a hug. And I was embracing like, oh, wait a minute. And she says, Deborah, she had on her mask.
Yeah.
I says, I just have to ask for respect.
Yeah.
I said, I just dealt with COVID. I'm just like real with people
Yes,
with it now.
yes.
And she said, I said, you know I love hugs. And I know, she's talking about, Miss Dale, we got this. I said, yeah. So even in that perspective, I'm not hugging as much. And that's so abnormal for me. So when someone is like, okay, and so when someone that knows that I've tested positive, they do know my negative, they haven't seen me, I get that embrace. And I feel good when people are genuine hugging me. Yeah. When I watch the kind of standoffish, I'm like, okay, I'm going to respect that as well.
Yes.
So I respect people in their own place. And I said, like a knowledge we perish, but I'm thinking like, okay, I'm back in the workplace. As I told you all before, in my unit on the second floor, there's no one that actually tested positive that I know of.
Yeah.
There are other people probably in the health department might have. I don't know anybody's status. I only care about Deborah.
Of course.
Because it's the way that it's being stigmatized.
Yeah.
Of course.
So in knowing that, and I dealt with it the other night when the guy said there has been a vaccine in the lookout for HIV for over 20 years. Now, what do you think? I said, keep an open mind. How COVID gonna have a vaccine next year?
And you know it's not tested, it's not proven, but still, it's all experiential. So a lot of people are just saying, I'm not going to be a guinea pig. I'm not going to allow you to do this to me. There has to be time and there has to be a method. Because research happens over time. You prove, disprove. You're looking for systems and offsets and different things that cannot be rushed.
Let's go back to the flu. Do you remember last year or a year before where the babies and the young people were dying? Now, there's a flu vaccine, correct?
Of course.
We know that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's just the Bible speaks of these rumors of wars and these different things that are going to happen. And back to the believer,
Yes.
the ones that believe. We understand these things are going to happen. I'm not saying, quote on, for those that don't believe, but there are sometimes the warning comes before the destruction. I can't say COVID hit me because I was bad.
Of course.
I was any of that. I think I was chosen. As I always say, there's something that you're chosen for. And we give room to things that are less than the enemy. No. There is a place where you know when you walk in a path and it's the straight and narrow, you may veer, not my perfect, no. But my perspective is always now, why did this happen? I'm a person of the believer, no health issues. I don't want that. And so when you said that earlier about the stigmatizing, I was dealing with someone today of the same relationship. And I said, the thing that I do, I love those people just where they are. But have everybody anybody ever went in to ask why and what's going on than us to say. So the reason I'm looking at things different because of COVID. I don't know why, but COVID had me thinking a lot of different things now. And I believe, if you go to the heart of a person, we may understand why some of these things going on, but nobody takes the time out. That's where the trust issues come. Why do I need to tell you? I'm going to live my lifestyle however I want. I love people, but why is the perspective always in judgment?
And why do we always have to systematically destruct when there are ways to avoid it? There is no rationale in coming out of COVID-19, this period, the same. You're supposed to think deeper. You're supposed to have greater considerations. And you're supposed to move differently. You're not supposed to be the same. What Coretta and I talked about is figuring out what that looks like for each of us. So because you tested positive, that's going to look very different for Deborah. You have a different story. You have a different mindset. You have a different understanding. And I'll give you this one. Gassing up my car was always an issue for me. Because I would always think I'm the one that goes and looks under the pump. Remember they had the needle thing going on? But even now when I pull up, God just bridles me. This is the most dirty, contagious possible. So I keep gloves in my car. I'm not touching nothing.
That's good. The provider that I was speaking with about the COVID and, she works in the ER. And I think I sent you a little text about it.
Yes.
And she was saying, how is it that you're being disobedient to disobey what the land of the law is? Now, this ain't about Christ.
Amen.
She says, but if we come and you come in the ER, how should we treat you because she said, there's people that get upset. Hey, where have you been? What have you been doing? So if I said, I've been to the beach, I've been to the park, I've been to the mall, I'm here with COVID-19 testing positive. She says, how do you think we should treat you? Then you get upset because then they have to prioritize, what is what.
Yes.
So I was telling people, I said, so if you choose to do some things that you've been told not to do, you can't blame nobody but yourself now.
And how would you feel
we don't know.
if the professionals don't want to deal with you? Of course, we don't conduct ourselves that way. But if I took the position, you brought this on yourself. You could have avoided this. Why am I going to risk my life to now save you?
And I don't think nobody's thinking of it
They're
to that
not
level.
thinking of it that way.
Yeah. And I think, too, one of the things that it has highlighted, just simple stuff, like you said, when you go to the gas station, I know myself, I'll try to grab a napkin or something in my car and not touch the handle. But honestly, you have people in this world that, before this has happened, literally will go to a public restroom in a restaurant somewhere and not think to even wash their hands.
Walk right
like,
out.
honestly, it's so common for us to have those type of unhealthy habits. And this has really highlighted, like, the simplicity of keeping yourself safe, and health-wise and clean, just basically washing your hands properly.
Yes.
And so I think one thing, it has raised our conscience of things like that. Because before this, I'm sure not people like really, and then the thing is, I said, we'll all get so relaxed.
Yes.
And I'm going to be honest, I've said to myself and in other personal conversations, like, I'm not one to try to be all negative and, this gonna happen. No, and I'm not a prophet, so I ain't gonna say I'm a prophet lie. But I really feel like this is the eye of the storm.
I
don't believe that it's over. I believe that we are in the eye of the storm.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe that it is not time. Like I said, I'm not saying that we should walk around. We will walk around with anxieties. We will walk around with, the subconscious going on and on.
We just need to be
wise.
will.
But listen, it's not time to just think because it's not over. It is not over. And that is for me, that is where I'm trying to put some of my prayer pointers at in that area. Because I know this isn't it.
Yes.
I believe that this is just the eye of it. And we will be ignorant to ourselves, or we would do ourselves a disservice to just,
That's why you see me emphasize decision making. And developing your own mindset.
Yep.
And to promise you that's not going to be the most popular post or anything of that nature.
Of course.
Because people are used to lending themselves to what other people think and what you're going to say and what you're going to do. Now is the time in the season where you have to stand firm and fast on what you know, on what you believe, on who is your source and everything else.
Mhm.
You really have to put that into motion now.
For real.
And for a lot of
real.
people, that's very scary.
Because honestly, some people, like one of the books I'm reading, and it said, like Joyce Myers wrote it, The Battlefield of the Mind.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, many of us were or are Sunday warriors, but Monday whiners.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot, the church doors are closed at this point. And although, like, there has been a great advantage of having church online and being in community in that way, and fellowshipping. However, that touch that you was getting, when if you know, all the choir was right in front of you, the preacher was right there, you can go to the altar physically.
It's up to you right now.
That's not there. And not saying that it can't be as powerful through the streams of technology.
It's not the same. It's
However,
not the same.
like, so listen, where are you and Jesus really at?
Well, let me land that to you, because we were told that even, the social distancing, like, well, I had the experience to go back to my church,
Mhm.
and we had to wear masks, but the experience was totally different. Now, I've been praying and crying out, but when I walked through the church doors, I had an experience like never before, and we could not take off the mask.
Yeah.
And I said to my leadership afterwards, I had to go on my knees to just pull it down to get a little bit of air. I said, because the experience is even different with a mask. The worship, because you're free to worship
Yes,
God,
yes.
but with the mask, it's kind of like a restraint.
Yes.
And so it's totally different. But to go back into the house of the Lord, when he said, enter into my gates, I was like, I wanted to run around the whole church. But guess what? I respected the people that were there, because it was only a limited amount, because they're trying to do the phase. But we're the believer, and we have to use wisdom. I'm not saying go run there,
Of course.
but there's wisdom that has to be done, and washing hands, we do. But it's a different experience than virtual.
Amen.
So whoever took advantage to go, because like we said, we are the church.
Mhm.
I carry this building around with me everywhere.
Yep.
But going into the place of the sanctuary, it's a different experience.
Mhm.
And I just say to everyone, it's going to be a second wave. When you said that, I don't proclaim to be prophet either.
Mhm.
But I know we hear about the Spirit of the Lord.
Yeah.
And so there is going to be another wave. I don't know when. I literally, in my own thoughts, this is Deborah.
Mhm.
I said, this is not going to clear up until the end of the year, I believe, where it's a little bit more open.
Mhm.
But I just know that people need to work and all that good stuff.
Of
You're gonna
course,
land
yes,
there.
Of course.
There's things that we're rushing back. The government don't want to give us nothing for free.
Mhm.
But in my sufferings, and my COVID, and I'm this gonna probably be my last point, I have seen the goodness of the Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
See, I struggle in a lot of areas, but this COVID has me in a different
You know how to
mindset.
work it out for the good.
It's
You
for
know
his
how
good.
to get the glory out of anything.
He's gonna get all the glory.
Anything.
I
gets
can't
glory.
take an ounce.
Amen.
And so when I said the COVID and the intentional, what I say, I wore this green intentionally.
Intentional.
Because mental health is
Oh,
real.
that's right.
This is a color. Just how y'all, with the breast cancer,
Yep.
mental health
Amen.
is real.
Amen.
I'm not saying diagnose yourself,
Amen.
but if you need to go see a counselor, go see a counselor.
Yes.
Sit on the couch.
Amen.
Not your couch, but the counselor couch.
Amen.
Amen.
And that's a perfect segue to take a break. So we're going to pause for the cause.
Yes.
And then we're going to come right back and pick up, because we want to talk about going back to work.
Mhm.
Because that's the legacy of a lot of people now. And a lot of people are apprehensive about going back into the workplace.
Yep.
So we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
We would like to thank our sponsors, the House of Love Illionaires. The Legion, the Legion, the Legion. Coretta Talbot. Coretta speaks life. Harris Boys Photography.
So, Deborah, we were just having a candid discussion on break, and I want to bring that back into this segment a bit about being honest and realistic about our emotions and how our mood shifts and our mindsets change and we react differently rather when we're under stress. Mm-hmm. So you were giving an example of things that you're seeing in your life. You want to share a little bit about that and how it's brought full circle the reality that circumstances can impact us in a negative way?
Yes. I must say that my emotionals, I've been saying I'm on a roller coaster. Roller coaster go up and down and come in. I know your belly go boom, drops. I've been dealing with it with those that are closer to me. So I don't just take it out on anybody, I believe. Mm-hmm. But, you hear the thing, how some people come, the leadership team at the job, they can't do it to their family. I'm opposite.
Yes.
I can do it to my family than to go to deal with Coretta and Sabrina. Mm-hmm. But you may see it if you're close to me. I'm like, what's wrong with her today? Something not right. Mm-hmm. And so if I snap at you and I'd never do that to you, I would love for you to come back and say, Deb, something went right about that. And I'm going to apologize. But for my family in this COVID-19 era, I found myself in my emotions really, really bad. Like I said, I'm very angry some days. I don't know why I'm angry. Mm-hmm. And I'm like tick like this. Like the firecracker come out of me like this. And my family, my daughters that are older, like, what's wrong with you, Mom? What's wrong with you, lady? I'm transparent right now. And so I'm like ready to fight. And I'm thinking like, really? I come back to my senses because I don't really realize it until I go lay down and like depress of it. So I don't know, clinically, y'all maybe can help me with. My emotions are really going up and down. And so my filter right now, I think you said it earlier, Coretta, for those that are going to be with me, going to be with me. And for those that are not, I really don't care right now. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking for that type of friendship or companionship with anyone that don't want to be a part of me right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that mindset shifted because I love people. Again, I say that. Yeah. But maybe you all can help me clinical why I'm on a really roller coaster, emotional, but I pull it back. But I only realize that I've done it. You know how people say that's the human side of me? Mm-hmm. I'm being transparent. I still love the Lord. Mm-hmm. I've acted out and I'm like, oh God, I got to go find myself saying something. Yeah. And I do go back and apologize. Good. Yeah. Good. I have been going back and apologize, telling them, I'm not sure, but I have the joking daughter that go like, girl, COVID did this to you. What's going on? So I do apologize because I don't want them thinking like this lady getting so mean. Mm-hmm. It's not with my age, as you said. I'm getting older. Yeah. I really think I've just been with an emotional roller coaster spin in my life with this because I think the thinking part of it, as you said, to test positive, to not go through a lot of it, to watch the news and the media and the world, and then the test negative, I'm still in emotion because I'm like, what do I think? Where did I get it from? How did this happen to me? What? So if you all can probably help me with the clinical side if you would.
Coretta, we're going to give her a few fine pointers. Yeah. What would you say to her?
I think it reminds me that you're whole. You're a person. And like we talk about mental health, sometimes we separate that from the being of who we really are and anything else that goes on in our life. And I think about many cases where people find themselves in therapy because they went through a physical illness or they've had a traumatic car accident. They may lose a limb or something. And you go get the surgery, you work on the medical side of things, but yet you still are impacted mentally. Absolutely. And I've seen that pattern, and even in my own life personally, when I've experienced things physically or medically in another area, it impacts my emotions and my thoughts hands down because this is one body. This is all of me, right? So whatever happens to this body, more than likely, it's like a vibration. If our being is going to go out, it's going to vibrate out. And so that's what happens for us. And I think the biggest thing that you're doing is, one, you're reaching out for an actual professional in this field that you can sit down and process those feelings. You can sit down and, like we kind of said on break, find better ways to deal with them. But the biggest thing I think that you have going for you right now is you're very self-aware. And then not only that, you're not trying to make excuses because you said once you reflect, you go back and try to correct. And that's, I think, the power in it. And you're working that muscle of becoming better and overcoming those thoughts and not becoming those thoughts, basically. So I would say continue to be aware, continue to be self-aware, continue to reflect And even if it's like, before you leave out the car to go in the house, or before you go in the store, where you're going to be around other people, have that moment with you. Stop and, have some self-talk. Talk to Deborah. Like, COVID-19 doesn't have Deborah. Deborah has it. God has that. And do self-talk. Bring yourself down so when you do walk into those atmospheres, even if it's just your home, you're not going in like here. But you already had this moment with you. So when the elevator goes up, the elevator didn't start on 10 going up. At least if it starts to go up, it started from level 1 instead of going up there instead of being way up here. So that's what I would say. But the biggest thing, you're reaching out for services and you're very self-aware.
And I would caveat to that to say we don't have to go all the way to the top.
That part.
We can get out. We can stop that elevator and get off.
Right.
Especially when we understand the destination is not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're taking a ride and we going there intentionally. We can pause and get off.
You are so correct. That's good.
But what I want to say to you is this, and this is what we typically do not do very well, is we don't self-assess to understand who we are. And that's taking responsibility. So it is important for you to recognize what triggers you.
Yep. That's true.
And it's even more a greater need in this moment because it might not be the same things as it was before. Now an escalated tone might send you off the Richter where you could have said, okay, I'm going to ignore that and, kind of figure. So what triggers me in this moment? And being self-aware is not just saying, oh, okay, I realize I'm acting out or I'm going off or I'm popping off. It's saying I realize I'm doing this and I need to counter it. I need to do something better. So once you realize what triggers you, you have to devise a plan. You have to safeguard against it. I said earlier in Pearl Drip that we need to diffuse. So now no longer am I walking to a situation where I'm going to engage the battle.
Yep.
Because when somebody pushes our buttons, customarily we want to win the argument, we want to trump the card, and we're just going to have our last word. But wisdom says now, especially if you're quarantined inside a home, I'm going to have to let it go. I'm going to have to walk away and check me.
Yes.
So recognize what triggers you the most and devise a plan. And a part of that, a significant part of that is therapy because it now teaches you skill sets. Exactly what I'm saying, but it's no cookie cutter approach. You got to figure out what works for Deborah.
Yes.
But the key and fundamental thing is accepting that something is wrong here. This is not my mode of functioning. Something's very different here. And I am not going there.
No, I'm not.
And we know you're not because you're sitting here at the table articulating everything you're doing not to, and we applaud you for that. But I want you to see why therapeutic intervention works. Because we don't know these things of our own accord.
No, we don't.
But when somebody can sit here and say, Deb, take a look. Even if you start writing it down. If a situation explodes to them, you can start and look back and see things that you can pile together that are consistent. All right. I probably need to avoid this person or this situation until things calm down. What do you think about that?
That's good. Because that is something I do journal. Good. And so I'm very good about like what happened and what took place this day. But because again, I think me being home for 30 days, totally different. Yes. Now you know I'm a social butterfly.
You used to going.
Yes. I'm going. I'm doing something. So that was totally different. The routine now is like, really? Okay. So maybe even me being more intentional about knowing that I am being home, I'm alone, it's self-awareness, definitely to the key. I'm the mirror check chick every day.
Yes.
What do you have for me today, Lord? I'm looking like, what's going on with them today? I really deal with me a lot because I don't want to make an excuse.
Beautiful.
That someone else is that bad and that powerful to trigger me.
Yeah.
I need to take control of me. And so that is something that I do know.
Yes.
Because teenagers are teenagers. So as I said, the more you try my gangster.
It sounds so funny coming from you.
But it's funny because we used to call my mom Gangster G. So when I said, Demar, you tried my gangster? Oh, I thought about my mom. And I went back into that.
Yes.
I have to tell you, her memories came so strong on me. Like when I started saying, you tried my gangster girl. And so it's a joke now. But that triggered my mom because my mom didn't play. She was a great lady, but she did not play with certain things and people. And what it was is what it was. It's cut and dry. So I think me saying gangster bring back, like, okay, not Deborah. But I have brothers that have been truly gangsters, and they know, and they always been my protectors.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have that, off the rip. I got people that really protect me. And so maybe now I feel like I got to protect myself. I'm telling you, I don't know. It all comes in this manner, so I really can't tell you.
It is a reality that you do. If you don't protect yourself, who will? You gotta protect yourself.
It's just areas that I can't even like I said, I'm being as transparent as I can about it, because I just want people to know that, like, really, I didn't know this was going to impact me in a mental issue way. I didn't think about it at all. You don't give thoughts to things like that anyways. I'm so concerned about my health. I wasn't thinking about it. And so when the things started happening, I started actually saying, wait a minute, this is dealing with my psyche.
Yes.
Something ain't right about this. Yes. And so that's when I knew. Nobody had to tell me I'm going to see a licensed therapist or whatever.
You're just being responsible.
I'm just being responsible for me.
And I want to point out here, we can put a pin here. I want to emphasize to all the professionals out there that are on the grounds, the essential workers, the doctors, the police officers. I think that it's so imperative for them to all make sure that they're being self-reflective and that they're taking on the seat as the client with a clinician to take care of their mental needs. Absolutely. And I say that because they just imagine, especially with COVID coming in and them seeing different cases, and everybody's trying to figure out what this really is and how to actually treat it, so on and so forth. But just imagine case after case that they see, and not even just of COVID, but other other health issues, and how many calls that police officers have to go out to. And it's not them that are being injured physically in that way, but they're still getting some type of, not injury, but impact mentally.
Absolutely.
And to say, so I want to definitely highlight that just came to me, that, like I said, we're all we're connected with our own bodies, but we're connected with each other. So as a society, I trust and hope that within the mental health field that we are seeing a rise in clients who are of those other professions. And I think that is so imperative, because you see that stuff over and over. And of course, sometimes we become desensitized. However, our brain, our mental, our psyche is still being impacted in one way or another on a moment by moment basis.
Absolutely. And the more you pour out,
yes,
the more you need to be refilled.
Yes.
But it's sometimes hard pressed for the professional to accept that they need help too.
Yep.
And that can be very disturbing for you now in need, and you're looking to the professional.
And they're injured.
So our call to duty is like to the nth power, especially in this moment.
Yep.
Not only to attend, but to self-attend. And we talked about role modeling, to be able to be that example in this moment. Because you're not making the telephone calls to individuals you don't trust. You've already said that's imperative. You're looking for people who walk it out, who are exemplifying. Because how can you help me get through this when you're broken down?
Yeah, that's true.
And when you're depleted, it just doesn't work that way.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's an amazing emphasis on call to order and call to duty.
Yeah.
That if we're going to really position ourselves to be in a place to help other people, especially public service, which is so demanding, and you're right back in that position. So you really have to self-attend. Yeah. You're now even tasked to role model it out yet again because of your service, and I commend you for being willing to go back, because I know 1,001 people who would not go back.
Yeah, I'm challenged.
I commend you.
I'm very challenged with it, but I just go, okay, I'm going to get through this moment because I have a job.
Yes.
It could be a different way.
Yes.
So I think about that. It is challenging. Definitely when I have to actually literally deal with the client, it's a whole nother challenge, because like I said, I'm open, but then I have to get geared up with the gloves and the mask and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, at my desk, I'm free. I got my own life, so I'm doing what I do in my office, and the space is clear there. I'm even anointing. I always anointed stuff, but I anoint myself the most. But I find myself touching little things. And this place has to be trustworthy.
Yes.
Because before, where you maybe thought you trusted, I'm in a whole nother way of trusting. Who has it for my good? Who wants good for me or want bad for me?
Yeah.
Because people smile in your face every day, all the time. They're in the back trying to stab you. Who wants to see? There was a lady put a post today. She says, and I said, wow, the life of my story. I think she said, some people, we were talking about the jealousy thing again. And she said, some people just jealous because of your energy, your smile, and how other people love you. And I said, wow, that's the life of my story. Because I don't do things just to make somebody intentional don't like me. You can't like me because of what? Just because of who I am?
Right.
So that's something that's intentional. You said something about the front line, the police, the different people. I was thinking even about that. Their job is complete with what they know how to do. So when they get to the person or whomever, whatever they're helping, sometimes you got to go deeper. We talked about that earlier on the break. Like, there's a discernment that you really need to do. Because when people want to call people as, again, oh, she crazy. He cray-cray. You really don't know what's going on with that person at that very moment. The turn of their life, something could have really happened. Like you said, we don't know why those people walking out there that's homeless and going through what. Because the first thing we like to say, well, why they living like that? We don't know why they turned that way. Because if I didn't have who I had, I could easily say, you know what, y'all can have all this. I'm going to leave with a little bit of clothes on my back. I love fashion. And walk away. And they're like, what's wrong with Deborah? She done lost her mind?
But no, because Deborah has checked out. Because Deborah is overwhelmed and Deborah really don't know how to deal with it. And at a certain point, Deborah don't want to deal with it.
That's key. It's some stuff I was like, I don't even want to deal with that right now. Y'all figure that out. You figure it out now because I don't want to.
But
and that's true.
But to public service, and I think this is a great emphasis on what you just said, it's denial of self. I keep telling people it's not for money. You want to make a great living and a profession, but when God especially has called you to public service to attend to his people, it is a huge denial of self. And if you're unable or unwilling to deny self, please don't put yourself in this position because you're going to do more harm than you're ever going to do good.
Yes, Lord.
It can't be self-serving because you re-victimize people who have already been victimized.
Oh, that's good, Sabrina.
And did deserve to be victimized.
You know that's key because I don't know if I shared it in the first session, but I have a friend that's a nurse, and she said they were offering so much overtime, so much. She says, Deborah, I don't even want the money, and I have a love to be a nurse. She is great with what she does. She said, but I'm not in this for the money. It is not worth my risk of my life. I'm going to do my shifts. I'm going to do them to my full ability, but I'm going to go home. And so think about the love of money. You know what the word of God says.
The root of all.
And so if you getting that money hungry right now and trying to do some things that you know ain't right, you should be aware of that because God is the provider. He is my Jehovah Jireh.
Amen.
He has been that.
Amen.
In bad times, hard times, I've seen him come through. And so I really tell you, it's a place of a stance right now that I got to keep. Because do I not think, okay, what's coming next?
Absolutely.
What blow might... I'm like, God, you got to have me there because I can't deal with certain stuff right now.
I'm not going to even be dishonest. I got chills when you said the eye of the storm.
Oh, gee.
Because in the midst of the eye of the storm is where the most destruction and damage and turmoil and everything comes. And if we're right in the middle of it, how long can the eye of the storm stay intact before this storm dismantles? So to say what we just went through the last few months, which has been overwhelming, that we very well may have to face that and even more in the future. I'm like, my God.
Because in the eye, like, people get so relaxed, oh, it's over. It's not over. Like, they get so, and like you said, that second wave that comes after that, it's just, and my thing is, like, I'm not against people wanting to go to the beaches, go to the mall. I'm not against none of that. And I think we all are on the same page saying, let's just use wisdom. But our heart, our motives have to be in the right place.
They have to be different. Because even if a storm dissipates, it can restructure
there you go,
itself.
and be stronger.
The natural
Oh my
you
God.
see the natural storms
become
that come.
stronger.
You think the category going this way?
Yes.
Okay, and then it can team up with another little
Category
category.
Then the team
Got
come
a
this way.
superstorm.
And now you've gone and taken down your shutters and you've eaten through all of your supplies and you don't have anything on deck. I posted today. Now, while it's calm, restock your supplies.
There you go.
Yeah, because they said it's a different
Think proactive instead of reactive, where everybody is once again scrambling for the same supply.
And it's such a conflict, even to say within the leadership of our nation, of our country, not to down our president. I'm going to speak life over him. Our amazing president.
I'm praying over him.
President Donald Trump. We're going to speak life over him. I know we don't always agree with him. I can speak for myself, but in respect to his authority, his seat in this world. But make a long story short, even just to see all the conflicting messages. You know something isn't you have over here saying don't, and then you got, so you better make sure. And I tell people, don't just be woke. Don't just be woke. Be ready to be because you know you can wake up, I'm here. No, you need to be present. You need to be proactive, present, in tune with what is going on. Like, make sure you're tuned into the spiritual realm. In the natural, go get whatever else you need. You ain't got to go crazy and go buy all the toilet tissue.
But be prepared.
Stay in position. Remain open-minded. Remain steady. Because when I tell you, we can't put out your...
I was just going to say, it's not about the position that people really look at. You respect the position, but you got to look at the person in it.
Of course.
We can't deny that certain people in certain positions, respectfully, don't need to be there. Especially when you're leading other people. We're just going to call it what it is.
There you go.
And when you recognize that the person is misleading or misstepping or whatever the case is, if you're not even strong enough to call it and speak it, you can change for yourself.
That part, you gotta be.
And that's what I'm telling people. You gotta be able to make decisions for yourself.
They're not making decisions for your best interest, for the most part.
For the most part.
They're not doing it.
It's self-serving. So even if your supervisor comes in and opens up the workplace and say, we taking everybody, don't worry about masks, you got some decisions to make.
Oh, I got major decisions to make. That's out of me.
But isn't that the reality?
That's reality.
The workplace can call it and they can put certain procedures and everything in place. And I have said, I have to make the decision, is this the right place for me?
That's true.
Am I going to align with this, or is it time for me to move on? And I have to be okay with, and God will make you uncomfortable.
Of course.
Remember, when he calls you, he doesn't want you in every position, in every place. He wants you where he desires for you to be.
That's right.
And you got to be willing to move.
That's true.
If you need to. So let's cap this out with reopening after COVID-19, because it's not an option. We're fully into phase 1, and we're moving full steam ahead.
It feels like phase 5. They call it phase 1, so we'll call it phase 1.
I said it's been a lot in the phase 1, so I don't know what the rest of the phases are. But let's end on this note, because this is the reality. And to be honest, I could see another interview with you. I really can.
We would like to thank our sponsors, Young Men of Distinction. Inner Journey Yoga Studio.
On set at the Cultural Pearls of Wisdom show. I know you've been tuning in, and guess what? If you haven't, there's still time for you to do so. There are many more episodes coming your way. Listen, this is all about us being enlightened, empowered, and educated. This is food for your mind, spirit, and soul. I'm just saying. So continue to rock with us, and if you haven't already been rocking with us, get on board. It's time to go.
Hey you. Yes, you. I want to say thank you. Why do I want to thank you? I want to thank you for being a committed part of the Cultured Pearls of Wisdom show following. The interest has been amazing. The excitement has been a bit overwhelming, but we're just grateful for what God is doing through this newly created platform. And we encourage you to continue watching, to like, to share, to continue to engage, and help us on our mission to educate, to empower, to enrich, and to elevate minds, hearts, and spirits that have been somehow and in some way impacted adversely by this life. We all know pain, we all know challenges, we all know trauma in some form, but we also know healing and the beauty of what it's like to get on the other side. Stay with us. We have some amazing, amazing features to come. God bless you. So I must say that this conversation today, the table is always rich and relevant, but today has been particularly powerful. And I want to talk about toolboxes, because we going to work and we need to be prepared. We're going out in the community, and I say by work, I believe every step we take right now, we're a role model, or we're an educator, or we're a guide, or no matter what capacity we're in, we're encountering people who are in need. So I want to ask each of you to consider, what is in your toolbox that you can give to other people to consider that they might want to put in their toolbox? We're not asking anyone to mimic you. What we're asking is them to consider and explore their options. So Deborah, what would you say?
Well, my toolbox, prayer. That's going to be key. That you start your day out with an intentional prayer.
Yes.
Asking for guidance
Yes.
in what you want of me today, Lord. Not to be about me, to protect me. I'm out there in this workplace now. It's daily prayer. I mean, if your prayer life is your prayer life, it's a little more fine-tuned. Tune it up a little bit more. Expectation. Yes. Opening my mind up to say, okay, what am I going to put in my toolbox? If I was preparing my lunch, I'm intentional of what I want to eat today.
Come on now.
So I'm going to be intentional today. Okay, what tools I'm going to take with me today? I said prayer would be key. I would have my protective gear, because now I'm in a place that I want to protect everything about me. Not so much the mass and that, but my mind, body and soul, peace.
Yes.
It's going to be in my toolbox.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
And I'm going to be fully with the full armor of God.
Amen.
Yes.
Because that's going to be my mind with the salvation.
Yes.
My heart with the breastplate.
All right. Come on
I'm
now.
a bird up.
Yes,
So I'm going to watch this path and how it's going to go.
Yes.
So I'm definitely going to have the central being of Jesus Christ in my toolbox.
Amen.
That's the practical, spiritual, but I'm also going to have the natural.
Yes.
And I'm going to be aware. I'm going to be open.
Yes.
I'm not going to be so closed-minded, because I want the toolbox to be effective for what tool I would need. As if I had a screwdriver, I need to know how to open it up. If there's a person, I need to speak to, how am I going to go into them?
How am I going to do that?
I'm not going to come in Jesus. But at the end, I'm going to offer prayer. If I need to have the pliers,
Yes.
I need to know how to put that wire back together again.
Yes.
So there's different things in the natural that I still can operate in the spiritual.
Amen.
But I will be full circle in my mind to respect how my toolbox is used.
Amen. Beautiful analogy. I absolutely love it. Coretta, what about you?
I would say all those things, and I would say the other thing is purpose. Like God has, and we all can say this, but God has gave me some promises.
Yes.
He has spoken some things over my life. And I don't care for COVID-19 and any other virus or anything else that can come my way, personally or on a wide scale. I am going to stand firm on the promises and the purpose that God has for my life.
Yes.
Because one thing of the characteristics of Christ is he's not a liar. God said his word went out and it did not return void. So that's in my toolbox, my purpose. Because sometimes when we go through stuff, whichever way it comes at us or how it impacts us, the first thing that goes out of the box is, oh, I can't do that no more. Oh, this won't happen no more. Oh, God can't use me like that no more. But I'm even more courageous about what God want to do.
Come on now.
I'm like, God, I don't care how many lemons have stacked on this table that wasn't here before. Oh, we're going to have us a good old bucket of lemonade. And you're going to add me the sugar, Jesus. So for me, it's really reflecting on where I am and being more under the anchor of God to say, God, what is coming next, regardless of what's going on in this world? There's still a great mission There's still a great commission of believers and
Call
of
is
us
greater.
that we have on our lives.
Yes.
So I'm like, God, help me lay this foundation, my finances. When I'm on YouTube looking at videos, when I'm on social media, I'm intentional. I don't have time to waste. I do have time still left for leisure and to chill out and relax. But baby, I'm trying to get it. I need this mind to be equipped. My finances on deck. I'm looking at how to get my finances better together. I'm looking at how to continue to take care of my body, mind, and so all of that. So that's what's in my toolbox.
Amen.
I'm over here on purpose. Like, God, how can we bust this thing wide open? Like, how we gonna do it, Lord? How we gonna do it? How we gonna do it?
Because I believe the call is greater than it ever has been.
Yeah.
before.
Yes.
And I tell people, if you ask me about my toolbox, it's triune.
Mm-hmm.
It's mind,
Mhm.
body, and spirit.
Amen.
And not only am I going to be real good about utilization of the tools that are already in my toolbox,
Mm-hmm.
I'm recognizing what's not in my
Come
toolbox.
on.
All right now.
I'm recognizing what I need to go out and purchase. If
There you
this
go.
is a self-help book or whatever it is, I'm realizing what I need to put into my toolbox. I'm also realizing what no longer serves me.
That's
in my
good.
Toolbox.
I know that's right.
It's a lot of things I need to empty out of my
Yes.
toolbox because they no longer relevant. They not working. There's no
Yes,
emphasis on them
God.
anymore.
Nails. Ha ha. They gave you
And
blessed.
I love how you said purpose because I wake up every day and say, God, what I don't have,
Yeah.
endow within me to do what I need to do to bless your people.
Mm-hmm.
And what I say most important is daily denial of self.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
Really, it's about self in the generality, but when you're in the spiritual realm, it's about denying yourself.
Have to.
Because God could be ever present.
Yep.
He can get the glory.
Yes.
And we
He
can
gets
be
it all.
impactful as we move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't fear the future.
Amen.
I'm actually quite excited about the
Amen.
future.
Come on now.
And what
Yes.
God is going to do.
Amen.
But I also know I need to be around. I need to be whole. I need to be stable for God to use me at his best.
Yes.
And that's a constant process.
Mhm.
So continue to be honest.
Amen.
Yes.
Continue to be authentic. But continue to be intentional.
Yes.
Yes.
What we come to find is that the co-producer of this show, the male perspective, is represented. But he's often very silent. And I've come to find that God is showing me that what he has to say is really relevant. And it should be infused in with more greater emphasis and with greater detail than what it has been. So today marks the beginning of that happening, where we're now going to allow our co-producer of this show to have a platform each show where he comes along and for whatever he's picked up within the conversation or whatever God lays on his heart, that he is also too going to bless the people. We silence no one. For the men watching this show, just know the platform is for you as well. And it's preferable to have a male representing that will too draw you in. Because all of this is relevant to anybody who wants to be better and do better. So now I introduce to some and present to others our co-producer, wearing many hats and doing an amazing job, is Velp.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Sabrina. As you did state, my name is Velp, and I am one of the co-producers of the show. I'm behind the scenes, editing, and you know what? I'm adding my input from behind the scenes. A lot of times we go on break, I might say a few things, and a lot of times Sabrina has told me I need to go ahead and speak my opinion and put it on camera so you all can hear those things I state. So I want to make sure that my voice is heard and speaks directly from the heart. Now, I sit behind the camera and I listen to all these beautiful things that's being said. I call it soul food. It's wonderful. I pick it up. Not only do I hear it, I listen to it, I'm here live, but also I hear it on repeat as I'm doing my editing process. So a lot of times I have little nuggets. I speak to myself listening and what I might say based on things that's being said. So it's time for me to speak out. Speak on the male point of view and basically just speak from the heart of a man who believes everything that's being said. Now, as we're going through this COVID-19 situation, it's a hard situation we're dealing with. The pandemic, the stay-at-home order, having to be home all day with family. You love them, but at the same time, it can become very stagnant. You can become very stagnant. You become, impatient with a lot of things because you're dealing with the same thing every day, same routine mostly. Being at home, not able to go places, things that you use to get away. But at the same time, We dealing with a lot of things where things are not being done right. And we have a lot of opinions on those people in power who we think should be doing things right by us. Rightfully so. And a lot of times we get to the point where we're saying that person should not be in power. That person should not be in power. How did that person get into power? It's a fluke that they're in power. But when I hear that, and I sometimes have thought those things, I have to go back to the things I believe in, my faith in the Word of God. When Jesus was in front of Pilate, and Pilate was trying to convince him to speak so that he can speak to get the truth on what he can do to free Jesus. I have the power to free you. Pilate said to Jesus, right? And Jesus was like, the power that you got, you wouldn't have except my Father from heaven gave it to you. So whatever you're doing right now, you're in position to do this because of the power that God gave you for a specific reason, whatever that reason is. So the people that we dealing with, we look at and we say they're in power. For whatever reason, we might not know, God put them in power. Just like the Pharaoh dealing with the children of Israel and Moses. Moses told him to let his people go. And Pharaoh, he didn't want to let them go. He did all this fighting against it, until at one point he said, I'm going to let them go. He had it in his heart to let them go. And what happened? God hardened his heart, right? And you wonder, why would that be? Did God do that for him? No, for that reason, I can tell you, it's for the children of Israel. See, if he would have let them go, they would never have to go through that time where they had to go through the Red Sea. And the Red Sea was a hard test for them. But guess what that test was? The test was for their faith to go through. They're thinking to themselves, what if this water engulf us? How long is water going to be open like this? I don't know about going through that. I can't swim. All these type of different things that come in your mind when you have an issue that you got to go through. Now you see the direction. They saw the direction, but that doesn't mean it was an easy choice. So, but they went through it and they got through it and they built up their faith. So whatever we're dealing with right now with COVID-19, dealing with issues, not things happening for us like it should happen. Friends or family have passed away because of the pandemic, because of the COVID-19, which something that I have dealt with. For the people that's still walking among us, we still have to push through. For our loved ones, we still have to push through. We see in this Red Sea moment where we see the direction to go, but do I still push through to go that way? Things happening. I have all these horrible things that could happen if I go that way. Yes, we have to be careful. We have to use wisdom, but have faith. I can tell you times where dealing with family members, seeing the issues where, you're dealing with the unemployment situation. I had a family member I'm helping fill out the forms and going through everything. And a lot of things is not going right. Over a month and a half, filled out the forms 3 times, filled out the unemployment forms online, couldn't get through the website online. Finally got through. Actually filled out the form, it didn't go through, kept on crashing. They tell us to go ahead and do the new website. Then they tell us to go ahead and download the application and then send that in. Did all of those things. A month and a half later, still finally get a letter, get a update. Denied. For what reason? We don't know. Call the phone numbers over and over again. The people on the phone can't help us. We don't know why. There's no specific reason why, but what you need to do is just go ahead and reapply. Maybe it go through for you. We don't have any information. Those type of things we're dealing with right now. And I know other people is dealing with that. And it's real. It's real. But at the same time, what I've learned is, though I'm concerned, though I have issues with something, the one thing I can't do is let it overwhelm me, overwhelm my mental. Because if it overwhelm my mental, then my body begins to break down. I begin to get really emotional, and then things are not done the right way because I'm not thinking the right way. I'm not thinking straight. So what I have to do is calm myself down mentally. If I have to speak to somebody, what I like to do is listen to music. I like to write. That's me personally. Whatever it is that you do to help your mental, whether it's speaking to somebody, whatever the issues is, you do that. And you know what you also can do? Well, she brings up the toolbox thing. When you find out something that works for you, you can tell somebody else. Let them know what you did, what you went through, and how it helped your specific situation. That's what I do. I like to write. I love to listen to music. I play the right music for the right time. Music is powerful. But whatever you need to do to get through this situation, this time, make sure you do so. And everything that you do, and every choice that you make, you got to use wisdom and understand that though it may be a hard time to get through, you're not the only one. There's a lot of us that's dealing with the same situation. And I just want to be a part of the solution to help you get through. And I just want to thank Sabrina for giving me this time. It's been wonderful listening to them, especially Coretta and Sabrina and everyone else that comes on the show. I love listening to your testimony, how you got through. Deborah, God bless you. Thank you for having this time. And I look forward to speaking more as time goes past, as episodes come, and whatever's been poured into me, I look to pour it out. Thank y'all for listening. Abel.
And with that, we're going to close out this amazing, amazing show. But we're always here. We're always available. You can inbox our community page, their telephone contacts. If you need a guiding path, it's not necessarily that we're touting ourselves as a professional for you, because that's something that you have to figure out. But we're here to help you make the best of whatever is to come. And remember daily, COVID-19 is a reality, but it is not all purpose. Meaning it's not to consume us. It's not to derail us. It's not to break us. It's to motivate us to be better.
Amen.
Thank you. God bless you.
Bless.